I'm working on uh, doing some kind of manual batch detection with Core Match, which is part of the monitor package. And I'm sort of continuing where I last left off with the short-tailed babbler manual batch detection, and figures out that I can skip some other processes and sort of clean up my workflow. So I'm going to share my screen again. And previously, we made templates for UROC in the first video, and that's what I've done here with the Trimol templates, and then combine them into a batch of templates here. And then when I'm ready to run them against a survey file, I'm doing Core Match here. And so what I've been doing for the last few days is just going through and changing this survey file each time and progressing manually through a list of survey files, which is really tedious, but it does work, and it's still faster than going through and listening to all of them. And each time I do that, I number all of these objects manually to match the number that I'm on. So for example, right now I'm looking at this file from September 19th at 5:30. When I go to the next file, which is September 19th at 16:30, then I'll switch this C-scores object to 26, and I'll change this temp peaks object to 26, and then make sure I go through and check each one. To speed it up, I've only been outputting CSVs for matches. So if it doesn't find any matches, I haven't been exporting any CSV data, because I'll just use that as a way to tell whether or not there were any detections or matches. And then I just realized that I don't actually have to go through and run all of these show peaks. I can just look at the temp peaks object that this creates from find peaks. And then I'll know whether there are detections or not. And that saves me a few steps and also some editing. So for example, I've just done this file, and then I ran find peaks, which created this list object temp peaks. And then I just wrote temp peaks here and hit enter. And that gives me the detection list object kind of printout here. So it's for those three templates, Trimol 1, 2, and 3. And then it shows you all the acoustic events in the file. And then it shows how many detections, and it's 0 for all of them. So now I can move on to the next file. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 1630, change this to 26, and then go ahead and run that. All right, so I ran Core Match here, and you can see it went through. Here's the function, whoops, sorry, Core Match on this file. And then it goes through each of the templates, Trimol 1, 2, 3. It's done. It has this typical file name, time source, info, error. So now I can go ahead and run find peaks with that C-scores object I just made, and I just changed it to match the numbering system that I'm using to keep track of this while I manually do it. So it's done with 1, 2, 3, and now I'm just going to look at temp peaks and see if there's any detections there. And there aren't any, so I'll go ahead and move on to the next file. So I'm looking at now the 20th, 05. There we go. Whoops. And then I'll make this 27. Oh, I didn't share my screen. Okay, well, you couldn't see any of that, so I'll just quickly point it out. I ran Core Match on this file here. And then I looked at the object created by Find Peaks, which analyzes the C-scores from that Core Match process. And then it showed me there were 0 detections. So I'm going to move on to the next file, which is from the 20th, 5:30 in the morning. And then I gave it the next number, 27. So I'll run that. And then when that's finished, I'll go through with find peaks. While I'm waiting, I can go ahead and change these.